it's on. Are we on? If so, tell me. Oh, no, dude. Dude, stop. From 0. That's the way we gotta do it. So, hello? I'm here, you're there. I'm gonna shut this off. And, we're here to chat tonight. Okay, so you can hear me. You can hear somebody. This is a chat, so chat show, so say hello. I'm getting distracted because I got my headphones on to make sure my audio is working. Two people. Maybe I should put a number of people watching, so it kind of shames you into chatting. Let's see. Starting soon. So I'm just kind of watching the video here in the background. I want to do some chatting. It's a couple of updates. Got a project coming up with a local train company. I've worked with them before. I'm not going to say their name just yet, but I want to talk about it a little bit. It is a 17-foot by 6.5-foot layout. It is going to be a show layout that is you know, the type of layout you see at events like Springfield and stuff like that. And yeah, there's a lot of other details. I I want to take some time before I lay it all out, because I really haven't planned it out fully in my head yet. So I'm also interested in what you guys are up to. There's really no other way for me to find out what you guys are up to unless I do a little chat thing like this. I also thought it was a good idea because me and a couple of friends are getting the band back together and doing a show that we started maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, it was actually 3 years ago in 2015. And I'll put these headphones down because my voice is distracting me. I don't even have to have my voice on there. Okay, fixed. So, yes, where was I? Yeah, we're going to be doing a podcast again. And, you know, if you got something happening, I want to have a nice way to, hey, Randy's rock and roll. Okay, there you go. Randy's Rock and Roll Railroad, McCarter. How you doing? Yeah, we're going to be starting a monthly podcast. And I've got to find ways to interact with viewers so that I can do my part for the podcast. I want to be able to bring in people who have fun things to talk about, and that's what this chat show's about. I'm going to, you know, putz around in the background. It's not face on camera, so I can putz around doing everything, sitting around chatting with you. And if you guys got something to share with me, you know, maybe it's a growing project, we can talk about it and maybe get it on the show, which will be a, you know, it'll be a, its main goal is to be a audio podcast. However, we will be doing a live video to create the content. As we create this content for an audio podcast, it's going to be all live video. So that's kind of, I don't know, I think it's going to be kind of neat. I'm using the word band metaphorically, just because it was the four of us back in 2015 who did the Model Railroads and Structures show. So, yeah. That's the other people were Peter Lavos, Judy Corchado, and Edward Traxler, and I. And, you know, we had a lot of fun. I think we had a lot of good chemistry together. Judy Corchado is from, well, she was from Florida at the time. She lives in Georgia now. And she makes these dioramas from horror movies. And they're kind of large-scale dioramas for... like, I don't think they're big enough for, like, G.I. Joe figures or anything like that. But they're really realistic. And way back 3 years ago, they're really good. Well, since then, I've been following her for years now. And she makes these Star Wars helmets and just all kinds of crazy stuff. And, like, cosplay... stuff. And Kokosing Valley Central Railroad. Oh, right on. Kokosing says, I saw your video of Hogwarts Express engine with this shed that looks really good. I've been into it since I was 7 years old now. I'm 23. I'm into 1/8 scale railroading. Holy smokes, that's big. That's like the big ones you ride on, isn't it? But I also work on my model trains during the winter time. Try to work on in... Yeah, exactly. Me too. Well, actually, I've had I've been doing this, like, let me be honest with you. I haven't been doing this, when I say I've been doing this for 10 years, I had my first job 10 years ago. But that doesn't mean that I've been working steady, you know. There was points where I felt like a complete failure in that regard. There was points that I quit for a while and picked up a real job, you know. So, you know, I over the last 5 years, in the fall, I start getting, like, the kids go to school, and I don't feel like modeling too much. Like, come to November, I'm not modeling much at all until Christmas time. And then after Christmas time, it's on. It's on like Donkey Kong. Yeah, like, my modeling season is like December 20th to Halloween. Just before Christmas to Halloween. The 1/8 scale railroad I ride on, but I have 2 locomotives, a Davenport locomotive and a Whitcomb switch engine, a flag car, and a drover's caboose. Whoa! Now that's a hobby. That's a hobby. Oh, I'm so jealous, actually. Wow. You know what? That's a topic of for the podcast. And while we're talking about the podcast, you could share videos of you riding the engine if you wanted. You can contact, I'll go put my email in the chat if you wanted to hook up to do that. If you don't want to do that, that is perfectly fine with me. I'm totally aware. Like, when I first started getting into the hobby, I wasn't interested in being on camera at all either. I'm a very shy guy, and I've met a few people over the last few years who really don't want to be on camera, and I completely understand. My friend's railroad is Cold Creek and Mill Creek Central Railroad, and I run on it with him and a bunch of his buddies. It is a 5-mile long railroad. It's got 1 roundhouse for 5 bridges, 2 tunnels. Whoa. What? I suspect you're in the States. Where in the States? Like, what state? You might have said that already. And about that Hogwarts engine, my goal this year is to do enough jobs to get myself a laser. That is my gig. By November, I hope to have a laser, because I'll be out of steam and out of inspiration by November, like I already said. Yeah. I'd like to have a laser this year, and Hogwarts, the village of Hogsmeade, which is like hogs or goats. It's a station in the UK, yeah, no doubt. It's okay being on camera, but, you know, I find it kind of liberating sitting here having this chat thing. I saw somebody else do it. I totally stole this from somebody else, not the graphics. I actually got a friend that I found. His name is NetArt, and he made me up this graphic on Fiverr.com for, well, he offered for $5, and I got him to make a few changes on it and fixes, and I don't know, this is pretty happening for me. You know what? And you know what? I've gotten negativity in the past about, you know, always having your face on camera and stuff like that. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, Sparky, but I get that complaint every once in a while, and it's like, I can play your game. So yeah, we're gonna have a meeting this week about the new podcast. I'm pretty excited about it. We've got a nice Google Doc going, and everybody's pumped for it. So, a lot of exciting things coming up, man. Yeah, like back in 2015, well, maybe it was 2014 when I built the Rapido display layout. I can't keep a secret long. I'm building the Rapido display layout for the APT-1 locomotive in the UK. Well, I built the original display back in 2014 or 2015. I think it was spring 2015 when I built it. So I got in contact with them shortly after I visited. I saw a few of them at Springfield, and they invited me down, and I drove through a real badass winter storm, I gotta say. That was a pretty badass winter storm. Oh my gosh. I started at 6 o'clock in the morning in London, Ontario. It should have taken 2.5 hours to drive. I started at 6 o'clock in the morning. I got there at 10 after 11. The meeting was at 11 o'clock. You know what, Spark? I'll get that guy to put the... We'll have to find a place to put it. We could put it on there somewhere. Table saw. Maybe a finger. Yeah. So the size of the layout is what's really daunting me, though. Is that it's 17 feet by 6 and a couple inches, which is gonna be crazy, and it's all gotta be modules that will clip together really easily and effectively. So that'll be fun. I've been using stealing a technique from Ken Patterson. I just did it on that engine shed that Koka Singh talked about. The magnets. No, I'll use magnets. Easy. I think it's a fully appropriate application for the project that I'm working on, and pretty good way for me to show my experience with adhesives, because I looked at you'll watch what I say sometimes. The project I got this idea on, it's gonna fail in some ways. Well, Kokasing, I took the advice of many modelers and didn't buy anything until I made, and this is a coincidence, that Rapido display layout 3 years ago. Now that this is a continuance of that layout, this is I'm starting to build up a clinic ideas, so I'm gonna start talking about this stuff. To try to build up this idea for a clinic. I want to share with people how to get a job in the hobby. You know, there's a lot of people who get jobs right out of high school because they're, you know, it's so hard to get a job in the hobby is my point. And the way to get into a job in the hobby is to volunteer a position or make it easy for the employer to find out what kind of employee you are, and you know, give them a chance to see your passion. And I did that with Rapido, and I did barter for my fee, so I got my expenses paid for, so like all that stuff was paid for. However, I took barter for their fantastic product in lieu of getting the money. And so I have LRC, a Rapido LRC. I've got a GMD1. I got a FP40. I'm going to get a Hudson. Well, I don't know what steam engine I'm going to get, but I got dibs on one. Let's just say that. Right on, Kokasing. Come up with a story, or maybe not a story. A story is too final. A story's like getting to the climax. You just do an outline of what you want to share, right? And then we'll talk about it, and then we'll see, you know, how much time you want to take, and you know what it could be. A couple of steps, things. I think the beauty of this podcast is that we're 4 different people creating content for an audio podcast, and all the video content can't make it onto the audio podcast. It's just the prime bits of audio. So that's all stuff that we can all produce on our own channels and collaborate, and then everybody can see content everywhere and stuff. You know, your talk with us, you know, could show a lot of video content and stuff, and a lot of people will see it probably on this channel or the Ron Perry channel. I really don't know what I'm doing yet with that. It's all over the map. YouTube demonetized my other channel. It just scared the whole Jesus out of everybody. Yeah, the Hudson is going to be really nice. It'll go really nice. Like, I've got another Hudson. Well, actually, that I have all these stories. I'm super cheap. Super cheap. There was this deal once, probably about in 2010. BLI sent out an email. They said, our fix-it shop is full of just parts and junk. send us some money and we'll send you a box of junk, and it'll all be steam engine parts. Well, I was like, it was around the time I was working the Imagine That Laser Art shops, donating my time. Again, how I got into the hobby was, a lot of contribution of my time. So, I'm distracted. Somebody's yelling in the background. So where was I? Oh yeah, and the BLI, I got the email from BLI, and I said, okay, I'm going to get 2 boxes. And I got, from that order, 2 perfectly good Hudson steam engines. And I ended up selling one for a pretty penny, which is hilarious because it was totally missing a decoder. Its electronics board in the bit. It was basically an engine with wires popping out, and it was basically a dream for somebody who knew what they were doing. But the thing is that I got all these engines and parts and stuff for $100, and it was such a good deal. It's not really a good deal anymore, but you can still get if you email BLI and you say, I have a model railroad and I want to make a junkyard of parts, they will make you a deal. Hi, Joelle. Yeah, we've had a ton of snow in Ontario here. Well, I think we're on the eastern edge of the province of southeastern Ontario, like in the little finger there. I think it's getting ice rain right now. Hopefully, there's no wire troubles, hey, Spark? Ah. Caucusing. I used to be a driver for the Amish community up here in Ontario, and they are closely related to all the communities are related together. I have a few funny stories about that too. Ja, wer zielste leven wissen. Yeah, we've had a bunch of trouble with the snow here too, and now that all the work's done, a lot of snow shoveling stuff like that, like Sparky said. But now that it's nice to warm up a bit, have a nice bath and change your clothes. You know what I mean? Yes, I work in a, during the mornings, milking cows. I've actually gotten a ride to work every day in a snow sled for 3 days. Boss's son knows he's not going to make it here unless I go get him. Yeah, I'm sure that's from all the snow plows though, Sparky. Right on, Joel. So if you're working, do a lot of experimentation, Joel, because you're working in a larger scale, and you're gonna come up with bubbles maybe. But you know, if you use the toothpick technique and you allow, you know, you really use clean stuff, you know, you'll learn to figure it out. Yeah. Well, talk to you later, Sparky. I think this is a pretty good test, actually. What do you guys think? Is this going to be good enough for the Sunday night thing? I don't know. I wanted to just test it out tonight because this guy sent it to me and I've got everything set up and it's working perfectly. 30 minutes is good enough for me. Okay, guys. Thanks for watching. Focusing. Please give me that email. I'm happy to talk with you about that. And Joelle, thanks for chatting. Randy's Rock and Roll Railroad was here. And I think that's it. I don't know. Check you later, folks. Bye-bye.